All right, so it's finally time for us to create our second hole. So I'm not going to guide you guys so much this time around. Keep in mind that we do, of course, want our course to get more difficult when we move as we move from hole 1 to hole 2 and so on up until hole 9. So hole 1 should be our easiest hole and hole 9 should be our hardest. So with hole 2, you're much more welcome to create something more interesting or get a little creative with how you approach designing your hole. But again, keep in mind that we don't want to have too much of a jump in difficulty. So if your hole 1 looks similar to mine, probably want hole 2 to look maybe just a little bit more difficult. So we're going to follow the same steps as before. We're going to be working out of our course prefabs folder. Any of these objects you see here are valid for you to use, although the booster ramp isn't going to be working until you get the script set up for that in week 4. But anything else that you see here with just the grass and the borders, that's going to be totally fine. So go ahead and take this time to make your next hole. Do remember that you need to get your starting position set up for hole 2 as well. So I recommend creating, I'm going to make my start position here. So I'm going to just drag that guy in. Same starting block as before, just like that. And then just like before, I create an empty object on that first one, drag it out to make it no longer a child, and name it hole 2, and then make that first piece a child of hole 2. Now I'm going to select the starting positions for hole 1, press Ctrl or Command C to copy it, then click on hole 2 and press Ctrl or Command C to paste it, and then we'll make that a child of our hole 2. And then also make sure that we move that over to hole 2 so that we have those spots lined up properly. Once you've got your starting positions and your hierarchy set up here, then you're ready to go. Like I said, I've already explained a lot of this stuff to you guys previously, so I'm just going to make mine here during a fast forward. So feel free to follow along with the fast forward if you're looking for some inspiration. And if I notice any tips or any tricks I want to point out to you guys, I'll open my microphone back up and tell you guys. Otherwise, we're just going to go through it and make our second hole. And we're also going to decorate, just like we did around hole 1, we're going to decorate around hole 2. So that being said, don't forget to add a hole at the end from that holes prefabs folder. Otherwise, go crazy. So one thing that might happen if you make your course turn is that you could get some misalignments with how the rotated objects look. So if I click off of here, you can see that this thing is slightly misaligned here. So what I can do is check and see which direction that's happening in. So if I look in the top right, there's this little spinny thing that if I turn my camera, it rotates with my camera. This is telling us what the coordinates of the world that we're the direction of the coordinates we're kind of looking in. So if the Z axis is like out in front of me when I'm looking in a direction, if it's going away from us, that means that's the direction we're facing. So if I get up close and I look at this misalignment, I can see that Z is going across us, and that means that this object is misaligned in the Z direction. So what I can actually do is select the previous block, which is this obstacle block, go to its Z position value on the transform component, copy that and paste that into our second block, and now I have a perfect alignment on that edge there. And in fact, I might do the same thing here. It looks like it's just 0.001 off, so I'll paste that in and then paste it in again. And now if I sit here and look at this line on the wall, it's almost perfectly aligned. There's a little tiny gap there where the curve happens, but we can live with that. Any of the other walls we can see are perfectly aligned. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with my second hole here. I got kind of a nice little forest thing going on. And as you get up, you see a little campground and all the trees and even some bushes and stuff along the path to the next hole. So once you've got all of this finished up, of course, make sure that you make all your decorations a child of that decorations object. So we can click the top and bottom decoration while holding the shift key to select everything in between. Same thing here, holding the shift key, clicking all of it, dropping it on that decorations object and collapsing to get our hierarchy view here nice and clean. So once you've got all of that taken care of, go ahead and save your scene with Control Command S or hit the File, Save Scene button, and you are complete with the course steps for week 1.